Hey, my awesome people, how you doing? This is Dayle, your host for the Awesome Music Show. As usual, it's another awesome day given to us by an awesome God to do some awesome things. And some awesome things we will do. Very exciting things happening in the UAE. UAE is celebrating 50 years as a nation, as a country, and also Expo 2020, the worldwide coveted event will be starting in another couple of hours. The opening ceremony was done a few hours ago. So the UAE is buzzing. Also, Canada celebrated their election recently, and that went through smoothly from all accounts. And tonight we have some guests on the show, and we're going to be talking to them. So tonight I have a book that I'm holding up. It's called Accepting Change, and it's written by Damoya Fearon. And she's very young. She's going to be telling us her age and everything. And her parents are on tonight as well. Fearons from Waterloo, Canada. So my awesome guests on the Awesome Music Show tonight are the Fearons from Waterloo. The main guest is going to be Damoya Fearon, author of this wonderful book, and we're going to be talking to her tonight as well. So for those of you who are joining on Instagram and on Facebook, and for those who will be seeing this at a later date on YouTube, we want to thank you so much for supporting the Awesome Music Show. So, Damoya and family, the Fearons, thank you so much for being my guest on the Awesome Music Show. How are you doing?
We're doing
We're
good.
very good. It's our pleasure. Good evening to your viewers as well. Thanks for joining us.
Yes.
Yes, great, great, great. So it's one of those, you should have been on this show for quite a while, but nothing happens before the time because this is a very, very powerful book, and we're celebrating the success of this book tonight. And written in 2019, but we are here today, 2021, and we want to just explore aspects of the book and the experience and everything. And also, we will be talking to new parents about, parenting in the 21st century. So the title of the show today is Accepting Change, Parenting in the 21st century. And we know that's a whole different type of parenting than the one we're used to 20, 30 years ago. So we're going to be delving into that. All right. So, Damoya, first off with you, I know most children your age, they are into video games and all kinds of stuff that is amusing to them, and they spend a lot of time. Even now with the pandemic, and most children are doing online school, we know it's always a challenge to get kids to focus on certain things. But I want you to tell us tonight what inspired you to write such a powerful book. And you can also tell us your age at the time when the book was written, and then we can go from there. Tell us about your experience.
Okay, so how this book started off, I had a project to do. It was a short story writing project to do at school. And I wrote this story about this girl named Izzy. And she was learning about new teachers, meeting new friends. And my teacher liked the story. She thought it was really good. And my mom, she read it too, and she thought it was really nice. And I've always been gifted at writing since before, because I've been told before that I was very good at writing, but I never really took it seriously because I was younger at the time, so I always thought it wasn't something I wanted to do. So I never really paid attention to it. But then I actually enjoyed writing the story, and then my mom said to me that maybe I should write a book, because I can write very well. And so I was like, yeah, that'd be awesome. And when I started off, I didn't think it was going to be hard. I thought I was just going to write a few words down, and finish the book. But then, when I got into the journey of writing it and everything, it became very difficult at sometimes. But my mom, she helped me a lot. She was there a lot. She helped with the planning and the punctuations and helped me fix things that I needed to be fixed. She was really there to help me. which I think was important because to have that support of someone who's supporting me, it felt good, you know? And she was there the whole time from the start to the beginning to the finishing to the end. I mean, she spent a lot of time with me to do it, and I'm really grateful for her that she was helping me because I couldn't have done it by myself. But, you know, I think
Yes.
that it was very challenging at times, but you know, you have to learn to overcome, learn new things, and grow your talents, you know?
How old are
Nice.
you?
Oh, I was about 10, in grade 5 when I wrote the book.
Okay,
And
great.
then I think I got finished at when I was 11 or 12.
I think so, 11.
Oh, okay, great. That's fine because something as good as this takes time, and it takes time to process and to put the chapters together because writing really is a demanding job. So we want to thank this is just for us to thank Pastor Phyllis Theobald and the Let's Talk About Jesus ministry team in the USA. Also, Christine Evans for joining on the Instagram platform. Thank you so much. All right. So, in terms of, so what was your parents' first reaction when you told them about writing the book and stuff like that?
Well, like I said, I wasn't planning on writing a book, but then my mom
Yeah.
kind of introduced me to the idea, and then, you know, I started to think about it. And then I thought, yeah, maybe I'd be pretty good at this because I enjoyed writing the stories that I wrote. So it was more of something that was brought to me, shown to me by my mom that I kind of developed on and learned on. So it wasn't an idea of my own, more of an idea that was shared with me, you know?
Can I interject? I think that she's naturally good at writing, but sometimes your children, they do not see for themselves how good they are. And so it's important for parents to see their children and see what talents they have to them. And that is what I did. From time to time, Damoya has written stories and I've read it and I'm like, whoa, at her age, even though I don't think I can write as well as her. I can write essays, but stories, I think she's very good at it. Just the way she puts her sentences together. And when I saw that, I was like, Damoya, you can do this. And she was not really interested, as she said. She's more interested in drawing. But I honestly believe that God has given her a talent to write. And so I've been encouraging her. I mean, I'm not, she says I'm there with her, but she doesn't mean literally there to write the book. She writes, and I will be there to offer her support to read and say, okay, I think this is going well. It's important for parents to look at your kids, see what they're good at. Kids have different abilities, and to just try to hone that skill.
That's good. That's good. So, and just thinking, if she's good at drawing, maybe at some point she could even use the same book in some form of cartoons, because that's a big industry now, the illustration of the book in a different form. And it's really good that as parents that you could be there to, show her, because as you said, there a lot of times our kids have certain talents and certain abilities that you as a parent has to see it and to say, hey, this is direction that I think you should go. And just yesterday I was having a discussion with my wife about our son as well, in terms of his love for cars, and he was just illustrating about starting new businesses in the car industry and everything at age 9. So just imagine if we can just work on those ideas, because if you listen to him talking, it's more than a 9-year-old. And God has given us some awesome kids, and we just have to, all the parents that are watching tonight, we just have to find ways to support them. All right. So in terms of the chapter and also the title of the book, because accepting change is a big title. How did you come up with the title? And also, how difficult was it for you to put the chapters together? 5 chapters in the book. Tell us a little bit about that, Damoya.
Okay, so for the title, the original title was not accepting change. It had something to do with sunflowers, but I can't remember at the moment. And then when I finished the book, my mom asked me if I wanted to keep the title. And then when I looked back at all I wrote and what my story was about, I feel like it's about someone who's kind of growing up and learning new ways in life and adapting to her situation, because she lost a lot of things, and people in her life. And it was more of learning to adapt to change and accept different things that are going to happen in your life, even when you don't want to accept them. So I really got the idea of accept change from reading over what I wrote before and understanding what the story was all about, the topic of the story, you know? And I really like the title because I feel like it was very powerful to understand that you're going to have changes in your life, you're going to lose people, you're going to gain people, you know, but you have to learn to power through it, you know, if you get hurt. And a lot of things are going to happen, but you have to be brave and you have to be strong and you have to learn to find new ways of life because sometimes it can be fixed, you know?
That's true. That's true. That's true. So powerful, and I love your explanation because, as you said, there are some things in life that can't be fixed, and you have to find a way to power through it and to work through it and to accept it. In terms of, especially as you said, she went through so much in the chapters, the different chapters of the book, and it's just a matter of her losing family members. And those things would be really hard to accept, but as you said, there are some things in life that you can't change and you have to find a way to accept it. All right, so in terms of so you started in 2019, and so it took you about 2 years to finish the book. What was the most challenging part of the entire experience for you from the start to the finish? What was the most challenging part?
Okay, I feel like the most challenging part for me was making the book a chapter book. Because when I thought of a book, I always thought books were like good books were nice chapter books, all these many pages and 100 pages, 200, they had so many detail in them. And I don't really like books with details. I don't even read books with many details. I like to get straight to the point. And I usually wrote short stories. So, getting it to be as long as it is, it was hard for me to stretch the story to make it as big because I've never written anything as long as the book I've written. So it was challenging trying to come up with ideas to make my book seem big because of books I've seen before, books I've read. I had a vision of what good books look like and how good writers wrote. And that book, it wouldn't be anything good. And I realized that I shouldn't have believed that because you can write a small book and it can be as powerful as a 200-page story.
Definitely.
But at 10, I always thought that the good books were the chapter books, all these pages that everyone loved, instead of the small books with the 20 pages and the pictures. So I think making the story big was hard for me, but now I understand that stories don't have to be long to have meaning because it can be a poem, it can be one page, and it's so powerful. So it's not about how much content's in there. It matters what the quality of the content is.
Right, that's powerful. So, in terms of writing, so this is your first book, and now you have gone through the experience of writing your first book. You're older now, more mature. You've read through the book. Just as I write to myself, sometimes I'll write a song, and over time, you're looking at the song, you're looking at ways that you could change things or do new songs. Are you planning on writing any other book or doing anything in the form of the literary arts?
I am 12, and there's so many things I can do in life, and I'm not sure if writing something I want to do, it is an option. There's so many things that I want to be a homeowner, I want to sell houses and do many different things. And there is a chance that I might write more.
Yes.
It just depends because I have ideas with writing. You have to have a straight, full-on, real idea. You have to have a passion for writing. If I don't feel passionate about writing something, I don't write. And when I do projects and I'm supposed to write, that's when my creativity comes because I feel so excited to show how good I can write and express myself in words without speaking.
Definitely.
And there's a lot of time for me to write more, but at the moment, I might.
I just want to interject as well. As she said, you have to be passionate about what you're doing. and dreams. Parents have their own dreams, and you don't want your child to be living in your dream. And so, while I
Definitely.
do motivate her, it's really not her passion. And I continue to encourage her because I think she's naturally good at it. But at the same time, I'm still allowing her to grow into her own. As she said, there are many options. And I'm allowing her to just explore every facet of her being until she finds what it is that she really wants to do. And if she does want to write, then as she said, that option is always available to her as well.
Great, great. All right. So Damoya, I'm sure you must have friends and family who have given you their reaction to the book. What are some of the reactions that you've been getting uh, since you've written this book and published it?
I've been getting the most amazing reactions. People are saying they love it. Their kids love it. My grandma has so many friends who say they love it. And it's so nice getting to hear all the different views of people. And for myself, when I wrote the book, I just wrote the words. I never really read what I wrote. I wrote the words. And then I remember one night I sat and I read the book to myself and I was like, wow, I wrote this. It felt like I was reading someone else's book. And I really enjoyed it. I felt so proud of myself because it, I felt really proud of myself. I mean, after I finished the book, I told my mom, I wrote this. And I felt so proud of myself
Yes,
because
yes.
I know it took a long time and it took a lot of effort. And it was so nice hearing all the wonderful things people said about it. They're so nice and positive. And I got so many views and everyone I've heard from, they say they love it. And I love hearing them say how much they love my book because I was afraid maybe people might not like it. They might think it's bad, but everyone I've heard from, it's all positive news. And I really enjoy hearing it because I worked so hard on this book. And then people enjoying
Yes.
it is what I wanted. I want people to be happy. I want people to feel good when they read my book. And that's what's been happening. So I'm very, very happy and proud of myself as well.
Nice, 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 nice.
May I
Well,
say something, Brother Dayle?
yes, go ahead, go
Just
ahead.
to add to that, as our book is motivating others, it was also inspiring because when I read the book, I was touched by it, I was moved by the content, and I was also inspired. So the book motivate a lot of person. I would also touch others that you can overcome challenges, that you
Right.
can push past difficulties, and that if you do that, there's a better day to come.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Well, we are all proud of you, Damoya, and I mean, it's really, really great to have your first book at such young age. And we just hope that you will be inspired to write more, or whatever else you're going to be taking on in terms of sharing with the world. Then we will be delighted to share with that as well. So, what I want you to do in terms of, because you've already spoken about how you feel about writing the book, which is a proud thing to do because there's so many negativity in the world right now, especially on social media, where people are just doing some crazy things just to get attention, unwanted attention, I would call it. So it's very, very good that you could have gone to this level to put a book out. So what I want you to do, well, before I do that, let me just say greetings to some persons who have joined. Kimson, my wife, also my family, my sister and her family over there in Linstead, St. Catherine. Also, Star Baldi, Trudy, and also my very good friend, Mr. Cahoon from the United States, have joined on Instagram platform. Thank you so much for joining. We're talking to the Fearons from Waterloo in Canada, and the daughter of the Fearons, Damoya Fearon, has written a book, Accepting Change, and we are talking to her tonight about the book and her experience, which is very, very good so far. So we're going to be sharing some details before we close about how you can get this book and how you can support her as she has written this book. in this book. So, Damoya, before I finish my set of questions with you, I'd want you to encourage, especially young kids your age, and just about everybody that's watching, because your story, as the Bible tells us, a little child shall lead them. Your story is something so positive that any person can relate to it, an adult, a child, someone in their teens, because it's positive and it's something that we all need to be able to do, and that's to accept change. So just take a little time to just encourage our viewers and those who are listening in terms of accepting change and also dealing with the challenges and
Because
changes that change
adapting is something we're going to have to do in life, even
Mhm.
at times when you don't want to. Because life never stays the same, good things will happen and bad things will happen, but you have to learn to power through because if you're weak, you can't do it. And you have to have people with you that have the support of people who care about you and who will be there with you because no one can be happy by themselves. It's impossible. You might have yourself, but you have to have God with you. You might have yourself, you have your mom. You have to have someone who believes in you because
Right.
everyone here has a purpose. And you need to understand that you can't go through things alone. Even when you think you want to be alone, you shouldn't be alone because people in your life are here to help you and to support you and to make you a better person and to help you with these changes, losing loved ones and people you care about. Friends are here to support you in your endeavors and things that you want to do in life. They're working through things with you. You have to have a support system, people who believe in you, people who agree with you, people who are going to be there when no one else will be. And I feel like you should have people there to be your support because when you're alone, you can't do anything alone by yourself. You can't support yourself because you're just going to end up in a state of depression or sadness. So you have to learn to have people. With my character, she had her family and friends to depend on.
Mhm.
And even adults have trouble sometimes with losing loved ones, especially. That's something that I've seen firsthand with many of the adults I've come in contact with. Losing their parents is one of the hardest things for them and other people they care about. And having friends who are like, I hope you're okay and hoping the best for them, it really helps.
Right.
And the positivity that around people around you because I was doubting myself in the beginning and hearing all these people, I felt so good. And it helped me build my confidence as well because I was afraid that my writing wasn't good enough, but people have been so positive and so kind. But I realized that I can write. I really can. And that people who believe in you, you can strive to be the best that you can. And that you should not sell for the basic, but you have to go above the rest. That what makes you excellent and makes you different and helps you feel good about yourself as well. You have to build yourself as a person with your attitude, the way you talk, the way you walk, the way you move. It helps and it's also a part of who you are. Because if you're someone who walks around, you smile every day, and you're still happy, you're going to be positive. And you're going to be living a good life. And some people do that, but some are still unhappy. So you have to help people too. You have to be there for those who don't know because being there, you might not want the big thing, but you might make someone's day. And I've seen people have encouraged them and say, "Good job! Oh, you look nice today." The smile on their face is so bright. And you should really be passionate about things that you want to do too. You have to believe in yourself too. You can't have people believe in you. You have to believe in yourself that you can do anything you put your mind to. Because even if people believe in you, everything changes when you don't believe in yourself. And I've seen it in schools. People they compliment people on their work and they're like, yeah, but it's so bad and yours is so good. You have to believe in yourself. You have to have self-confidence in yourself as well, not depending on people to build you up as a person, but you have to be strong. You have to build up yourself as well. You have to believe in yourself. And as a person, if you don't believe in yourself, you can't accomplish great things.
Great, great. So that's powerful, and we have to pause to let that sink, because we are living in a time when a lot of people are losing hope, they're losing faith in themselves because of all that's happening around the world. It's overwhelming, it's confusing, and a lot of people are just giving up. A lot of people are just throwing in the towel. So it's really awesome that you could share that with us on the Awesome Music Show tonight, and we are really proud of you. Annalise Clark, my niece, she's on the Facebook page. Also, Kim Edwards Thompson, as always, has also shared, sorry, that she is proud of you and your growth, and we want to just give you all that perks tonight, because this is a very very good job. So for your parents, in terms of parenting, we want to shift to the second aspect of the interview. Thank you so much, Damoya. You're going to still remain on, because we're going to be talking about the details of the how people can get the book and to support the book. So happy that we have our copy, and our son has been reading it. So for all those who are watching on the Instagram platform, Accept and Change by Damoya Fearon, we'll be telling you some more details about how you can get this book and how you can support. All right. So in terms of your parents now, having two wonderful girls, Damoya and Danae, how does it feel as parents? I can almost answer the question for you. Guess what? You're the parent. You're in the hot seat. You're in the awesome spotlight tonight. What's it feeling like for you to see that early age published this book that's touching so many lives around the world?
I want to start out by saying that my husband and I, we are immensely proud of Damoya. She has just been dedicated to excellence, and it's important for parents to empower their children and to remind them how excellent they are. And even at times when she lost motivation to do the book, just by encouraging her, she just kept on going until it was finished. So we're truly proud of her, and it's telling of what children can achieve when parents are supportive. We talk with her, we pray with her, and we encourage her. And from that kind of support, she published this book, and we're immensely proud of her.
Yes, yes, yes.
I just want to
Sir Fearon,
join
your
in
feedback.
in terms of
Yes.
how proud we are of our daughter. To see her accomplish so much at this age is just awesome, awesome.
Yes.
And we try our best always to encourage them in their goals or whatever tasks they're given, and for them to strive for excellence. You know, sometimes I have to remind her, remember, you need to put some work in your book, and give me a face and say, Daddy, why you don't be bothered me now? I would want to watch some TV or do something else. But you have
Yes.
to remind them, this, it's your gift. It's a gift. And sometimes they don't see the gift that they have. And so you have to help them along the way and encourage them. And as my wife said, prayer. We pray with them. We pray that God give her the wisdom to find new ideas and to push through the situation. And
Right.
so we are always behind her, and she knows that. Even if we nags her, she knows that we are here for her, and we support her 100%. Over
There's no
100%.
limit.
There's no limit.
Yes, yes.
I'll give her our love at all times, and when she's down, we try to do something to bring her spirit up, and to get her back on track in accomplishing the task.
Awesome, awesome. So in terms of the experience, because I'm sure those our viewers and listeners would like to know what was the experience as a family on a whole about from the start to the finish, just to get the book to where it is, because I'm sure this must be a process, and it's something that's not a walkover. And we would want to know just a little bit about the experience that you all went through to get it to this stage.
Well, I must say, I didn't find it to be a difficult process. And the reason for that is because I published a book as well. I taught religious education in Jamaica, and I marked CXC for a while. So I wrote a book on the guidelines for marking CXC religious education, SBA. So that was my practice in using the Amazon platform, the KDP, to publish books. So I knew the process. And so because I had that knowledge, I was able to help her with formatting and to just uploading her book and just getting it published. So because I had that experience, it wasn't difficult for me to get it published for her. But the challenge for us was to keep her motivated, because as she said, she's not really passionate about it. It's something that she's good at, but she's not passionate about it. And you don't want to be forcing something on her that she doesn't want to do. But at the same time, you don't want her to lose out on a talent that she has. So you still have to offer that kind of encouragement and allow her to do it in her time. Because even established writers, they have mind block or writer's block. And so we have to be cognizant that this is something that happens, and to just give her that grace to do it on her own terms as well.
Nice. So I'm happy that go ahead, sir.
I was just saying also, sometimes you have to help them with their chores, because they have chores to do. So sometimes we pitch in and help them in their chores so that they can get the time to think, to get a break and to get back to the task.
Okay, great. Well, it's one of those things that as a parent you have to see, because for my son, he has powerful ideas, but he's not the writer, but he can talk. I'm sure if I put him on live now, he will talk and he will, tell you exactly what he wants, timelines, and how he wants it to be executed. So they all have different skills, and as parents, it's just for us to see those talents and try to, mold them into what we want them to be, or what we see that's best for them. I know in terms of parenting, because parenting now is a whole different what I would say experience from what our parents went through, and even if you should go as far back as 20 years ago. Tell us about what are some of your experiences now as parents, and what are some of the challenges that you would be facing now in terms of just being a parent, a normal parent in the 21st century. Tell us a little bit about that.
When we compare parenting now to back then, in my time, it's children must be seen, and that doesn't do well with this generation. These young people are critical thinkers, and they have a lot of questions. And I believe that it's important to allow them to express themselves as long as it's done with respect, because I have zero tolerance for indiscipline. Yes. So what I realized that back then, when we were brought up to be seen and not heard, there are a lot of children who grew up being shy and not having the kind of confidence that they need to push through in life. I'm not saying that children still didn't excel and well, but I think it had an impact on their self-esteem and how they express themselves. Now, we allow our children to be expressive, to say what their thoughts are. We have family meetings where we discuss things. It's not just you just tell them, go and do this, go and do that, because they're people too. They have thoughts, they have ideas, they have feelings. And so I believe it's important that we do not take on this notion that, okay, you're a child. It's adults who are speaking. Go sit down and don't know your child to be able to make decisions, to ask questions, and you should be there as parents to provide answers to them. And sometimes we do not have the answers. We can find the answers together. So that is important. also we live in a time where we're having decay of the moral fabric. And so when our children go to school, there is negative influence that surrounds them. And as parents, I think it's becoming increasingly difficult to just help your children to stay grounded. And so what we have done is to make sure that we entrench certain values in our children. And it starts not when they get old, not when they're teenagers. I firmly believe that certain values that you need your children to emulate should be done as young as, maybe before 7. I always tell my friends that after 7, it's really difficult to really break the child. So you as parents, you don't laugh when your children are doing bad things and say, oh, they're small. No, we correct them. And I know a lot of people have challenges with their children, and we have challenges too. But I must say that we feel blessed because even though we have challenges here and there, it's not any major challenges. We're proud of our kids because they don't give us a lot of problems. And the reason for that is because we corrected them from they were young and they know what to expect. So it's important to have standards and expectations, and the standards are. And when they know from a little older to just be themselves and just demonstrate the kind of values that you want them to have.
Yes, right.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, you
I
can
just
go
want
ahead.
to add to it, comparing then and now.
Mhm.
In terms of when children do something, we were in the past, you got more work than reward. And and when you do something good, it was not highlighted in the past. For us, we kind of change that pattern. When we need to correct, yes, we do the correction. But when they need to be rewarded, they're also rewarded for their achievement. So we have either give them gifts, help them to even celebrate their victories, and that is good. You need to celebrate the good times too, not only the negative. You must also celebrate the positive things. So we try to do that in our own family and with our girls, so they can be also positive. Give them a positive attitude towards that. That yes, when we can do something wrong, there is consequence for that. But when you also do something positive, there is a blessing or a reward for that. We also, in terms of chores, we can encourage them with a pocket money or allowance per month.
Yes,
We're
yes.
still working on that one, though, but it's still good to encourage them. It's still good to encourage them when they have a goal they have an objective to achieve, and by motivating them with a gift or token, it helps. We always remind them that we love them. Even if we are correcting them, at the end of the day, we still let them know that we love them. So we correct them and let them know they're always loved. And as my wife said, we allow them to speak freely, give their opinion, but respectfully.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
we just as we go along, we learn along the way. You will not always get everything perfect,
That's
but
true.
you can change the situation from the past. But let me also don't dismiss everything in the past. Some of the things in the past can apply now, but some of the things
Definitely.
don't need to work now. So you have to learn to adapt, just as how the book is saying, accepting change.
Yes.
You have to accept change, that things are different now, the culture is different, the environment is different, and especially with social media, that is they're so exposed to so much information. You have to
Yes.
be more aware and be on guard in terms of your children. So we have to prepare them for that. Another thing is you also have to be careful of the company that they are engaged in. It's good to investigate and who they are visiting or who are their friends or who
Mhm.
they're going to spend time with, because that can also damage their personality and and who they are. So try to develop good company and let them be involved in good company.
I just want to say, based on what my husband said about good company, last year, Damoya had a little struggle with friends. And She didn't have a lot of friends, but she chose not to have them because when she looked at the way they were behaving and the kind of values that they had, it's not that she was judging them, but their values didn't align with our values. And so rather than being involved with them and being allowing them to have a negative impact on her, she decided that, you know what, they're not in alignment with our values, and so it's better to be alone. And I've always said to my kids, you know, you're going to make the right decision, even if you're the only one making that decision. You have to stand alone once you know that this is our values, this is what we're doing, and it's the right thing. Stand alone. And it is very, very important that we build our children, because when they go to school, there's so much that is out there to impact them. Last 2 weeks, Danae's teacher called and she was like, I'm so happy to have Danae in my class. And that made me feel proud as a parent. And I'm sure my husband felt proud as well, because, some children, they behave well. And speaking from my experience as a teacher, children behave well when they're in front of their parents. And when they go to school, it's another story. So when a teacher can call and say, I'm happy to have your daughter. She's so personable. She's so helpful. And it felt good. And so we just have to build our children, and so that they know how to behave whether we're there or not.
Yes.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying, we just have to put both things in, love and discipline where necessary, because you cannot overdo one and leave the other. You have to try to have a balance. You have to have a balance, because the reality, if you allow them to be indisciplined, then when they go into the world, then they're going to face challenges.
Yes, awesome. You've both shared some powerful points, and one of them, if I would just Sister Fearon's comments about allowing your children to have a voice and allowing them to speak. There's so much that they have to say. Sometimes my son needs much more of my time because he has so much to say, and it's one of those things that you have mentioned that's very, very profound. And comparing now and then, back in the days, we weren't even able to say certain things, and even if we say certain things, maybe it was just not heard as how it should have been heard. So now we're giving them a voice to speak, and as you mentioned, having family meetings to discuss certain things, and also Fearon, you mentioned about the type of friends that your kids keep, very, very important, and also the rewards that you would give them to make them feel good, because trust me, just giving them something to say, hey, I appreciate you've done your chores on time, I appreciate that you were very good in your behavior this week, or you did well at school, and they can have that to look back for. I see Damoya laughing, so I know that must be something. I know how it feels when my son can open his wallet to see money that we have given him over a period of time. We go on the road and we can say, hey, you can spend some of your reward money to buy something that you want. So I know how that feels as a parent. And also you mentioned something maybe a lot of parents miss. Especially in our days, we knew they loved us, but sometimes we think, hey, they were just all about killing us and telling us every single thing that we did wrong, and also we know the punishments that came with it. So it's really good that you're saying in all the correction and in all the things that you would correct and instill in them, you're always reassuring them that it's all about love. It's all
and
about
Brother Dayle, it's not just loving word, it's loving action as well. Because oftentimes we hear I love you, but where's the manifestation, right? It's important to touch your children. So my husband and I, we hug our children each night. We give them their good night kiss, and if we don't come, they're coming for it. So it's not enough to say I love you, right? But you need to embrace them so that they don't go outside seeking that kind of love or validation, So it's important not only to just say I love you in word, but also demonstrate, hug them. Because when you're hugged, you feel so secure. And so we try to give them that as well. And I mean, we're not perfect parents, but we're learning. And these are things that have worked for us, and we think they're very important that you love them in action as well.
And Brother Dayle, I just want to add, in terms of the treats or children, it doesn't have to be expensive. Sometimes it's just pack up the car, they have a car, take them to a park, if there's a park, or to the beach, make a few sandwich while you have in the house, make some sandwich, or make some hot dogs that you have at home. You don't have to buy anything. Yes, if you can, that's good. But if you don't, make some tuna sandwich, and some hot dogs, and put some juice in a cooler, and just go on the road and
Carry a
walk
ball.
and carry a ball
Yes.
and play some games.
Yeah. That's another thing too. We play a lot of games with them. So we have bingo, we have Ludi, we have card pack. Because you need to build relationship with your children. Some of us focus on building relationship with our spouses, but it's important for us to build that kind of relationship with our children so we can know them. So when they get to this teenage stage that everybody thinks is so dreadful, they will have that connection and that relationship with you that they're not afraid to share with you because they know you and you know them. So that's important too.
Awesome. Just want to read some of the comments from Vicky and Reynolds from Old Harbor, proud of the show, and she's one of those locked into the show. Also, Paul Waldo, great job, Damoya and the Fearons family. So thank you all for joining. Also on the Instagram platform, for all of those you have joined. Auntie Debbie, thank you so much for joining. Chrissy underscore D22, also Newton underscore McKay. Thank you so much for joining. And for all those who have joined, with Dennis Richards, Annette Thompson, Katrona from St. Elizabeth, Fluffy Kira, my sister, joining locked to the show. So thank you so much for joining and for sharing in the Awesome Music Show. We're talking to Damoya Fearon and her family. She's the author of this book, Accepting Change, and we're going to be talking just a little bit about how you can find this book and how you can support her. Also, Sister Fearon, you mentioned writing a book a few years ago. We wanted to share some of that details as well, so people can support both of these books coming from the Fearons family. In terms of you have mentioned really powerful points that we know at this point, as you mentioned, Sir Fearon, just a while ago, the rewards doesn't have to be something expensive. It's just a matter of the action behind it, and also just a thought that comes to let them know, hey, we appreciate you, and we're going to be going for a road trip, getting them out of the house, getting them on the road to the park, whatever it is. And it's all about being consistent and, showing that to them over and over. And they will grow up to show that to their family and friends as well, and we can see that coming on from an early age. So this is really awesome. And I'm sure that those who are watching, those who are listening via the Instagram platform, they are really touched by your story. So just take the last, just each of you could just maybe for a minute or two, just to share, just to encourage those who are watching, parenting. There might be parents listening that's struggling in their personal situations in terms of just being a parent. So just share a little word of encouragement before we close, and we're going to get into the details of how people can support the book.
Let's start by saying, parents, there's no one size fits all as it relates to parenting. What works for us may not work for you, but love is a language that everybody understands. Yes. So we do not profess to be perfect parents, as I mentioned before, and just be proud of yourself as you are on your parenting journey. We're all in this business of learning as we go along, but there's a manual. People always say there's no parenting manual. For us, our manual is the scriptures. And as a family, we have family devotion. And there are key things that we teach our children using the scriptures. If you want to learn about self-confidence, you use your scriptures as well. The scripture says that you're fearfully and wonderfully made. Tell your children they're fearfully and wonderfully made. Now, if you tell your child they're fearfully and wonderfully made, it doesn't matter who on the outside tells them otherwise. You've already validated them. So there is a manual. If you need to discipline your children, there's a manual that tells you as well. So I don't want to leave from here to say, okay, this is the way the Fearons raise their children, so that's it. No, there's no one size fits all. And another thing you need to know is that children are different. We have two children and they're two different children. And oftentimes parents compare their children, and there's a saying that comparison is the thief of joy, something to that effect. Do not compare your children. Look at their gifts, their individual gifts, and encourage them in that vein. I mean, one may be good at singing, one may be good at dancing. One talent is not more valuable than the other. So help your child that he or she has as an individual, and do not compare them, because that brings about sibling rivalry, jealousy, and problems that you do not want to nurture in your family.
Yeah.
It's also important as parents that we understand that we do not know it all, and there are others who have done it before us. And it's okay to have that support group that Damoya spoke about, having a group of friends who you can say, you know, I'm having this challenge. Make sure it's somebody you trust, because people can be so cunning sometimes. Have that kind of group that you can say, can you pray with me? I'm experiencing this. What advice do you have for me? So it's good to have that support system. Another thing I want to encourage parents to do is to find motivational quotes and give to your children. I have this poem called Equipment that I give to my children. You have all that the greatest of men have had. 2 hands, 2 ears, right? So when you use those motivational quotes to encourage your children, then they feel valued, they feel that they can achieve excellence. And another key thing for us is prayer. We pray. And sometimes when we as parents get discouraged, because from time to time I do get discouraged, as do all parents.
Yes.
And what I've come to realize is that the seeds that we have sown in our children, when we're going through those periods, they in turn pour back into us. Some of the things I remember at one point, Damoya came back to me when I was feeling a bit down, and she was like, "Mommy, remember what you told me? You cannot have faith and fear."
You
That
know,
really hit me, because I was going through a period of like, okay, this is not happening for me, right? And she just reminded me, Mommy, you told me that it's either you're going to have faith in God, but you can't have faith and you can't have fear. So choose one. And that's something that I told her. But at that time, I wasn't thinking about that. And as Christians too, there are times when we tell our children things, and in our human frailties, when we get in our circumstances and we feel down, you know, we don't remember those same words. And when we pour into our children, they pour back into us as well. Another thing we do with our children, for us as well, I'm not a teacher anymore. Well, I was a teacher, always a teacher, but I'm not a practicing teacher anymore.
yes.
But education is important for us, and our children know that education is important, and there's no negotiation when it comes on to being educated. And so it's important for parents to spend time with their children doing academic work as well. So my children, our children, they go to school and they do their schoolwork. And I know some people will say give them a break, but when they get home from school, they have work again. We buy the Canadian curriculum, and even when we were in Jamaica or the Cayman Islands, we buy the books. And once they get home, they're still doing schoolwork, because we believe it's important to be educated. Not just educated for an academic field, but educated so that they can make informed decisions, educated so they will have greater options. And sometimes they change what they want to become in life, and even us as adults sometimes don't know what we want. Once they have that level of education where they can think for themselves, education to me is more than remembering content from a book and so on. Education is about helping people to develop critical thinking skills, problem solving skills, and these are things that we encourage our children to develop so that they can stand on their own and represent themselves well. I felt so proud tonight sitting here listening to Damoya, just speaking, right?
Mhm.
Not struggling to find our words to express ourselves, and all of that is indicative of how we spend time getting them to do academic work. For
Yes.
example, if our children they read a book, it's not okay to just read a book. What did you read? So after reading a book, they come and they stand and they make their presentations. They have to give a book report because it helps them
Yes.
to express themselves. It helps them to think for themselves. You ask them questions. So it's not enough to just say, okay, go and do some work in the book. No, you have to be actively involved. Parents, you have to be actively involved in your children's life. I know sometimes you have work, but if it's even 15 minutes, dedicate and say, this is for my children. As parents, sometimes we get so caught up in doing church work, housework, work at the corporate job, or in the schools that we do not find the time that we need for our children. And you know what happens in the end? Our children go up and they don't know us. Our children go up and they don't want to have any conversation with us because when they were growing up and needed our support, needed us to communicate with them, we were not there. So I'm just encouraging parents tonight that, we all do it differently. But in all our doing, make sure that we show our kids that we love them and make sure that we spend time to communicate and to genuinely connect with our children.
Wow. So awesome. So awesome. Sir Fearon, you can just add to that.
Add to that, yes, let me first endorse all that my wife has said before. Um, as parents, you know that we're not perfect and it's a learning curve and you have to learn as you go along. Another thing I would want to add to it that as parents, you have to work as a team. So mom and dad, in terms of respect for each other. And my wife spoke about sometimes you have favoritism in terms of a child. You try to avoid favoritism. And
Yes.
the other parent, sometimes one parent might see it in the other parent. And so sometimes you can remind the other one, say, be careful. Be careful.
Mhm.
I know you might have a little like for that one, but can't work. We have to try to balance it as best as possible. Keep it to yourself, but
Yes.
you have to love both of them as best as possible, equally.
Yes.
And sometimes with each other, when you're working as a team, you can make the work lighter. And so,
Mhm.
when sometimes when the children are at bed or going to bed, you can have those discussions. What did I do wrong? What could I have done better to help each other? Because
Right.
sometimes you might hold a point, but it could have been handled a different way. So you have to work with each other and build up each other as you journey together as parents. But also, Brother Dayle, I want to also throw in there sometimes parenting can not be in this situation where both parents are there. They might be in separate homes, mom and dad separated. Um, but I would want to encourage those parents, despite the separation, and I know you have your own hurt and you're grieving also because of the relationship it didn't work. Try as best as possible. See if you can remember that the child is in the middle, and we must have that level of respect for each other. And so, as parents, they need to show that respect for each other, love same way. When the child is visiting one parent, don't belittle the other one or put down the other parent. No, don't have those discussions. Be positive. Find out what is happening on the other side, and then work with that parent, and vice versa. So when the child is at mom, what are some of the rules mom have? What are some of the things mom are encouraging? When you come to dad, I'm going to encourage those things, plus I'm going to add some more to it. When the child is at mom, what are some of the things that is encouraging? And I'm going to encourage that, and we're going to maintain that. And especially when it comes on to discipline, we have to be on the same page because if one is saying something else, you're going to have problem. And it is sometimes we don't realize it, but it affects the child. By being separated alone affects the child. Where you're having both parents are fighting for special love, it is going to make the situation even worse. worse.
Yes.
So we have to try to avoid that and show it, it's not going to be easy. It's not that easy task, but understand that God has given you that privilege to be a parent.
Yes.
So you have to kind of put away your differences aside and let us grow that child as best as possible. So we want to encourage you, if you're not in a marriage situation and you're separated, still put the interest of the child first. And by
First.
respecting each other, by working with each other, develop a child so they can be the best they can be.
Yeah.
Because first of all, they're a purpose. They are here for a purpose and they have something great to offer. But as parents, if we do not instill the right things, if we don't help them to achieve it, then they can go down the wrong path. And then we will face the consequence and it will affect us later on.
I just want to say, based on what they said, that consistency is key. You have to remain consistent. I want to speak to single parents as well, because sometimes the burden is heavier when you're working as a single parent. But just show your children love. Even if you're a single parent, you may not have the money at all times. I know some single parents do have money. So I'm not saying single parents are poor. But even if you don't have the money, just spend time with your child. Tell your child that you're smart. Tell your child that you can do this. So you have to empower your children. I have seen from experience, I've been for over 14 years, and I've seen a lot of children who have risen out of poverty because they never had the financial resources, but they had love in the home. They never had the financial resources, but they had parents who supported them. And from my experience as a teacher, I have noticed a pattern that children who are supported by their parents, they have always, well, for the most part, they have excelled. So I'm encouraging parents tonight, whether you're a single parent, whether you're married, please, God gave you the responsibility as stewards over your children. And that responsibility is to be valued. Spend time with your children. I cannot overemphasize that. Please spend time with your children, their schoolwork. After school, when they get home, do not just go and wash the dishes. No. Take a few minutes and say, how was your day? And do not make the question too general, because sometimes, especially younger kids, they cannot process a general question. They're going to say good and just give you a one-word answer. No, you have to probe and say, okay, did teacher say anything today that made you laugh, or did anybody, ask them specific questions to help them to define what happened in your day. Because sometimes our children go to school and are bullied. I remember when Damoya was in grade 4 in the Cayman Islands.
Yes.
She had challenges with being bullied at school, but we were aware because when she got home from school, we would ask these questions, and because we were able to ask these questions, we were able to intervene and to address the situation so that she could be more comfortable at school. So it's important for parents to just ask them, what happened at school today? Who is your friend? What did your friends say? Just to have an idea of who the friends are and what type of people there. And there may be times when you need to say, okay, you need to maybe choose some better friends or so on. So it's important for us to be consistent and just to spend time, get to know your kids, and pray, ask God for help, because there are many times when we really don't know what to do. We don't know where to turn.
Yes.
But the Holy Spirit is the revealer and the teacher. So when we don't know what to do, we go down on our knees. You cry if you must, but ask God for help. It says, look to the hills from whence cometh your help, because God is our help. And when we can't find a way, the Holy Spirit will reveal it to us and make a way for us where there wasn't none in the first place.
And brother, I just want to throw one more thing. As parents, be also willing to say you're sorry.
Yeah.
Sometimes, we are carrying out a discipline, and you might have taken the wrong approach, or sometimes how you did it, maybe there was a wrong way. I'm not saying that the person wasn't supposed to get the discipline, but when you're wrong, you need to be able to say to your children, I am sorry. This is the reason why I am doing this, but my approach might have been the wrong way, or I handle it. I am sorry,
Yeah.
but what you did was still wrong. And
Mhm.
so we must. And my wife would say, you need to make memories.
Mhm.
When I look back on my own life, one thing I regret even with my own father is that we didn't hug much. We didn't hug much. Most the only memories I have is like when you go to the airport and somebody is going away, or when I was traveling for the first time, we do at least some hugging. But I
Yeah,
mean, make memories.
daily
Spend
thing.
time. You need out of the 365 days, make sure you have a vacation time.
Yeah.
When even if you stay home and do not just stay home and buy food and eat or cook and just stay home and everybody stay there and
Mhm.
make memories. You need to have that because at the end of the day, yes, your job is important, but you'll have to leave it. And if you
Yes.
die, somebody else will replace you. So you need to make memories with your family. Don't just be in it, but live it. Live
Yes.
it, and you have to work on it. And I think you have to also work on it because it's not going to always go the way you want it or smooth sailing. You have to put in the work. If you're going to have a good family, if you're going to have strive to get good children, you have to work on it. And as my wife said prior, it has to be at the center of everything.
Yeah. But I did have one
Awesome.
on the
Yes.
parenting. With all that we're giving our children, the greatest gift that we can give our children is to give them a Christian legacy.
Yes.
Give
Yes.
them a Christian legacy. Help them to know Christ, not just through you, but help them to know Christ for themselves. I remember Damoya was saying to me the other day, Mommy, my relationship with God is different. She
Mhm.
was like, Mommy, sometimes I lay in bed and I just talk to God. And that's good because while we want to demonstrate a Christ-like life for them, we want them to get to a place where they can know Christ for themselves. So I am not following Christ because my mommy or my daddy is following Christ. So in all you're giving to your children, I know we all have these ambitions to make sure they're educated and whatever, but for me, helping them to have a great Christian legacy triumphs that, and not just as a religion, but has a personal relationship with God. And if as a family we can give that to our children, then we feel that we would have been successful.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So many powerful points coming from the Fearons, and we have to make note of a lot of them. One of them that really sticks out, two that really sticks out is the fact of praying your children to see that Christ in you and also live to experience it for themselves. I was happy just a few days ago to listen to my son praying at the dinner table, and it's sometimes, as you said, you would listen to them talk and you're wondering, whoa, when did they get to this stage, and that's
Exactly.
a powerful thing. And also one point that Sir Ferman raised is the fact that we as parents need to be able to say we are sorry when we are sorry, because a lot of us, I think, struggle with that. And just recently I had to do that because I did something, and after looking back, when your real senses kick in, you realize, wow, this was not the right response to bad behavior, and I had to really say that I'm sorry. So
Yeah.
powerful points. I could draw on many of the other points, and I'm seeing even Fluffy underscore Kira, my sister, on the Instagram chat saying really good points, and there are others who are also logged in as well. And we're really happy to have you as a family on the show. I'm really learning as I host the show just the same. I'm really learning and I'm taking my notes because this will help me as well, help our guests and all those who are listening. So I want you to close off by just giving us some details of the book and where we can find both books, because you mentioned your other book, and based on that experience you were able to help Damoya through this book as well. And if Daniel wants to say hi, she can say hi before we close as well. But you can go ahead and give us some details about the book and how we can get the book and to support the book. Accepting Change by Damoya Fearon, and they are living in Waterloo, Canada at the moment, and we want to just support them.
Please let the people know that we're Jamaicans. We're from Jamaica. We live in Waterloo,
Jamaican.
Canada, but we're proud Jamaicans as well. That cannot
Yes,
go
yes,
unsaid.
yes. I mean, Jamaicans, wherever we are in the world, we might not be proud of our heritage, some things that the honorable has done or anything, but we never leave him a national film. So pro Jamaicans, we Jamaicans are yard, Jamaicans abroad.
Exactly.
All right, so go ahead and share your also uh Devonay 10. Thank you so much for joining. And we're talking to the Fearons, and Damoya Fearon is the author of this book, Accepting Change, and this is the book that we're promoting tonight on the Awesome Music Show. All right, so as we close, just give us some details about the book. And Denny, you
So the
can
book
say
is
hello.
the book. Go ahead, Danae.
Hi. Thank you for being on the Awesome Music Show with your family. All right, and all the best in school. All right. All right. Nice,
Okay,
nice.
so the book is on Amazon. So that's the only place where it's at right now. So
Mhm.
if you want to find a copy of the book, just go to Amazon and you just type in Accepting Change by Damoya Fearon, and the book will be there, and you can purchase the book.
Great, great,
Um,
great,
mine
nice.
is is mine is just limited to people who do religious education. So if you're a teacher and you teach religious education and you're SBA how to assess the SBA, then you can find my book as well. It's guidelines for marking CXC, religious education SBA, and it's on Amazon as well by Natoya Gillespie Ferron. So that's limited to people who teach religious education.
Okay, great, great, great. So the two books that you can find to help you, and find them on Amazon, and you can support the Fearons as they go forward in their future. Jamaicans, they were in Cayman Islands for a while, now enjoying wonderful, wonderful Canada, which so many of us want to visit and just the same. All right, so it's my pleasure having you on the Awesome Music Show tonight. And trust me, it was a very, very good show. I'm sure the broadcast will be shared over and over. And Sir Ferron, publicly, I would want to have you back on the show in a different capacity on a new feature that I'm having. Where we share the awesome word of the week just for about 15 minutes. But I'll talk to you off air about that because we
Okay.
know people are so in need of encouragement now. So apart from doing interviews of authors and doing all kinds of interviews with musicians and everything else as the show does, we want to pause each week to have the awesome word of the week shared by someone from a different place. So we'd love to have you on in a different capacity. But I want to thank you so much for being my awesome guest on the show tonight, and we really appreciate your time. We have gone way over our schedule time, but that's fine.
Yes.
That's fine. When you're having fun and when the information is good, that's what happens. So
Thank you
yeah,
for
go
having
ahead.
us, Brother Dale, and the
Yeah.
parents. Tell yourself you're doing a good job. There's a song on Instagram. Sometimes I sing it to myself, babes, you're doing a good job, babe. So tell
Yeah.
yourself you're doing a good job. You make mistakes, but you're doing
Yeah.
the best that you can with what you have.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
thank you,
Damoya,
and
any
thanks for
final words
watching.
for you? Yeah. Any final words from you, Damoya, as we close?
I want to say thank you for having me. I had
Yes.
a lot of fun sharing my opinions and,
Yes.
explaining my story because I haven't explained it to anyone in detail as of today. So thank you for having us on your show today, and thank you all for listening.
All right, nice, nice, nice. Also, we want to thank all those who have joined on the Instagram platform. Our next show will be on Tuesday when we're going to be having a special guest from the United States. We'll be sharing some more details on that. We'll be sharing the awesome word of the week. So we look forward to that show, and we have several other interviews coming up for the month of October as we grace the month of October. It's going to be a month when Jamaicans celebrate Heroes Weekend or Heroes and everything, and other celebrations right around the world. So we want to just highlight those as well. I want you to also check out, go online and find out about the Dubai 2020 Expo. Very, very informative, very, very powerful. Creations from all around the world that would blow your mind. Would blow your mind. So you can find it. Just go online and you can find several details. Before I close, let me just check on some of the comments. Diane Henry, also, thank you so much for joining. O'Neill Gibbons, also for joining. Blessings, everyone. And thank you so much for supporting the Awesome Music Show, as always. So, as I close tonight, may God go with you. Thank you so much for being my viewers and my listeners. And also to the Fearons in Waterloo, Canada, for being my guests on the Awesome Music Show. Thank you so much. Have a great night. And as you go, we will remember all the points that you have raised tonight about parenting and about, accepting change, adapting to our situation all around the world. And we want to thank you so much. All right, so take care. Be
Bye.
all right. All the best. We'll see you soon. Thanks so much. Blessings, everybody, for being my guests, my viewers on the Awesome Music Show. And as always, it's another awesome day given to us by an awesome God to do some awesome things. And we want to thank you so much for being on the Awesome Music Show. So see you soon. As I said, on Tuesday, we'll be having an awesome guest to share the awesome word of the week, which is a new feature. And if you want to share a word, just inbox me on my Facebook page, or you can send me a WhatsApp on 1-876-868-6109 if you want to share on the Awesome Music Show in the awesome word of the week. Also, if you want to support the show, you can. There's several ways that you can just reach out to me if you want to support this initiative and this in various ways. All right. So be blessed. Take care. Your host is Dayle T as I close the night on the Awesome Show. Take care. Have a good night all around the world. For those of you who will be entering into a new day Friday, as people like myself in the UAE. Be blessed and all the best for you and your family. Take care. Blessings.